Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
just asked about the current events now with Iran and Israel. I mean, just yesterday, Iran launched 180 ballistic missiles against Israel. Israel has said there's going to be dire consequences. Iran has said if you retaliate, there'll be even more dire consequences. And so you have this escalation of
Yeah.
uh, of violence that's just, for all intents and purposes, where does it stop, right? And I
Yeah.
think you're asking, what does that mean for Israel relative to the conception of the last day? Is that basically the
Yes.
word?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Matthew 24 gives us wars and rumors of wars.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, when we look at um, the wars and rumors of war, I mean, that's obviously been a part of human history before the birth of the church, before Jesus'
Very true.
prophecy of wars and rumors of
Yeah.
wars, right? Um, so I guess the way to frame it would be we have always had and we will continue to have wars and rumors of wars until the final war that's specifically
Yes.
identified in the book of Revelation as the war to end all wars, the mother of all wars, right?
Mm.
Where in the sixth bowl and the sixth trumpet, we have this
Yes.
mention of this great battle where the kings of the east are brought forward, or also mentions all the kings are brought in Revelation 19 as well. The final battle is depicted, but this time
Mhm.
and how it tries to attack Jesus himself. The other
Yes.
bowls and trumpets is just about, against coming into the land and against Israel as one element of that. So, I mean,
Mhm.
you have this obviously expectation at some point Israel will become a real focal point of
Yeah.
worldwide um,
Mm.
uh, destructive attention. And so, I mean, we see, in a sense, Iran, the first time really that a state outside of Israel is now
Mhm.
attacking Israel. And
Yes.
obviously, it's kind of odd because Israel hasn't attacked Iran per se.
Yeah.
They've attacked
Yeah.
their proxies. And yet,
Hmm.
Iran somehow feels justified to step into the fray in a very significant way to attack Israel as a state itself.
Yeah.
And so it's logically it doesn't make a lot of sense. Politically it
Right.
does, because obviously Iran's proxies are going, hey, if you are said you're supporting us and Israel's attacking us and really doing significant damage to us, where is your support of us? Have you
Yeah.
betrayed us? So obviously Iran's feeling that kind of pressure and feels they
Yeah.
have to step up. Um,
I think
but
they lost that deniability because they had that deniability. But
right,
now you cannot say any other thing now. When Israel makes a claim to say Hezbollah and these guys are your proxies, you cannot say no after
exactly.
what happened yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Iran. Yeah, exactly. Iran has now, they've gone but past deniability, right? Plausible
Yeah.
deniability to saying,
Yeah.
okay, we're all in. And what does all in mean going forward? It's going to be
Mm.
very interesting to see. But does that mean we're in the last days or the last
Yeah.
day of the last days? Obviously, not yet. This is not sufficient enough of a scenario. It could be the
Mm.
tinder block, that ignites a larger
Yeah.
regional conflagration. But we've had those
Hmm.
before with the
Of course.
1973, right,
Yes.
war, with 1967, um,
Yes.
1982 with Lebanon, but that was more a one-sided affair. So I mean, you've had
Hmm.
a regional conflict. The key is it has to go beyond the region if you're entering into connecting up biblical prophecies with what's happening in Israel. And right now, we're not even close to that point. Um,
So we have many prophets that go, no, it's just the beginning of the Gog and Magog war. Is the Ezekiel, the 37, 38 war. And I feel like people play with these scriptures and with these themes very lightly without really spending time or thinking through things. And what do you think about that? Whereas just because after Iran's attempt people already begin to connect dots. Now, Iran is in a loose alliance with Russia, who is supposed to be the Magog or whatever. And so there's all this like spreading very thin in order to connect dots to, in a sense, to fulfill biblical scripture, almost by personal on attempts or on efforts, in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I can appreciate people's desire to want to take scripture seriously
Mm-hmm.
and say scripture is an insight, it's a revelation that
Yes.
we can't get just by logical extrapolation. Hey, that was pretty
Mm.
poetic. It's a revelation we can't get by logical extrapolation. I remember that. But anyway, so I appreciate that heart to take scripture seriously and to say, hey, we have
Mm-hmm.
these scriptures that appear to be aligning in some fashion.
Mm.
But the key is we tend to, as you said, go beyond what's allowed by the evidence available to us to then
Yes.
squeeze it into certain molds that we can manipulate people to extra, um, you might say believing beyond what the text allows us to at the moment. So obviously the Gog and Magog, Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, where you have the forces of Gog and Magog and Meshach and Tubal and Cush and Put,
Mm-hmm.
all attacking Israel and getting wiped out on the more than likely the plain of Jezreel and above northern Israel. And they're burning the weapons of war for 7 months and burying the dead for 7 years, kind of thing. Um, and again, symbolic numbers, number seven doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
mean literal. It's
Yeah.
talking
Of course.
about, the completion, the fullness, the
Yeah.
finality of
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have in Revelation, you've got Gog and Magog mentioned in chapter 20. We have the famous millennium passages,
Yes.
21 to 3, where Satan is put into the abyss for 1,000 years, and then
Yes.
24 to 10, where he's released from the abyss after 1,000 years.
Mm.
And he is now attacking the encampment of God, of the holy ones, soon
Mm.
to be Jerusalem. And Gog and Magog resurface again as the two key names of who's attacking after this millennial, whatever the millennium refers to, whether a literal reign on earth or
Mm-hmm.
it's a symbolic number of the church age that
Yes.
started at the resurrection of Christ and will complete at the return of Christ. Um,
Yes.
so we don't know what that entails, but we do see this imagery being leveraged in Revelation that brings us back to Ezekiel 38 and 39. And you
Yeah.
have this major battle, and Revelation uses that major battle imagery well
Mm-hmm.
in the sixth trumpet and in the sixth bowl. And I'm trying to remember, is it the trumpet that calls it Armageddon, I think? And the bowl that doesn't, but they both have sort of the same battle scene from two perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And so it fits very nicely with Ezekiel 38 and 39 as sort of could this be the fulfillment of that moment? Um, but again, yeah, when we take the Gog and Magog and try and figure out who are these
Yeah.
references, that's where it gets
Mm.
fuzzy and blurry. And we just need to be careful with trying to force the connections
Yes.
with modern history because modern history keeps ebbing and flowing. We had the seven-headed beast, right, with 10 horns. And
Yes.
for a long time, people said this 10-horn alliance of kings, oh, that's NATO.
Mm.
Because way back when, they had 10 countries.
10
Well,
countries.
unfortunately, now you've got 22 countries and perhaps counting. So, maybe it's 24 now with Sweden and Finland there. So you're going,
Yeah.
okay, darn, that sure didn't go very well with the prophetic that lined up so well for us. So we always have to hold, all of that to say, we hold things loosely. Yes, we
Yes.
see correlations, but that doesn't
Mm.
mean causation, where this is going to actually be the fulfillment. If anything, it just keeps us attentive. It's like a little wake up call. All right, there's a
Yeah.
little connection point of perhaps fulfillment. Oh, let's keep attentive, keep looking up, keep living well. Um, that's my perspective more so anyway.
No, I like it because if I was to add to what you just said, it feels like those flickering that keeps us awake,
Mm.
it's almost telling us keep harvesting, because
Mm.
this is a harvesting season. This is end times.
Mm.
Keep harvesting, keep harvesting. Like keep your hands on the plow. Don't let go. In a sense, don't let go. So it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you have more time, or maybe we need to go to another segment and another clip. But
Sure. Let's do
I
that.
wanna, yeah, let's do that.